Hello YouTube. In today's video I'm going to be disassembling the Winchester 1895 rifle, and we're going to start with removing the wood stocks from the rifle. We're going to remove the barrel band screws. Because they're kind of snug, I'm going to use a punch to simply push them out to the other side. Here are those screws. Now we can take them out and set them down. Now we're going to take the rings off. In my case, there you go. We'll take that ring off. Lift the forestock away. Now, in order to remove the handguard, I'm going to need to raise my rear sight, set the rifle down, grab the handguard kind of by the rings and lift up, kind of like that. Then we'll turn the handguard and pass the rear sight. Now we're going to remove the buttstock. There's one screw, the tank screw, that we need to remove. Now that's out. And the way I take off the buttstock is that I simply give it a couple of taps. And now we're going to start disassembling the action. I'm not going to be removing the rear sight simply because there's no need for me. If you did want to remove the rear sight, you would take out this screw and that screw in there, and the entire rear sight and the base would come off. The other thing I'm not going to be removing is the forearm stud or forestock stud. It's in a dovetail. You can simply drive it out by using a punch. And for rear sight disassembly, I have a video already up, so you can check it out. So we'll begin by unlocking the finger lever and then removing the carrier screw. The carrier screw holds the carrier inside the assembly, so there will be a little bit of tension. At this point, we're going to flip the action over and use a punch to drive the screw out to the other side. There. So we can take our punch out. We're going to take out the pivot screws, magazine pivot screws, which is this screw, and on earlier models this would be the only screw. On later models the screws are on both sides. Now we can open the finger lever completely and pull the magazine out. Right now we can set this magazine aside. What I'm going to do is start taking out the springs here. The sear, the mainspring. This is the sear spring screw. This is the mainspring screw, and this is the mainspring tensioning screw. So we're going to back it out some until there's no more tension on it. Now I'm going to just unlock the action, because what I don't want is a lot of tension on the spring. So I'm going to go in from the side here and start unscrewing the mainspring screw. Now that the mainspring is loose, I can open this again, the action, and then finish removing the screw. I just think it's better to not work on the screw while it's under tension, but I might be wrong. So the mainspring is oriented this way, and you'll see a little groove in the top end of it right here. That groove is what the hammer roller rides on, so you'll know that that goes up. There. This sear spring just popped out. The sear spring is actually oriented this way, so it's sloping down basically. Alright, now we can take out the hammer. So I'm going to close the action. We're going to remove the hammer screw. So there's that. Now we can take the hammer and simply lift it out. And there's that roller that I was talking about in the back or under the hammer. And you can drive out that pin to remove the roller, but I'm not going to because my pin seems to be staked. So I'm going to keep it in there. Now what we can do is separate the finger lever from the bolt, because there's a pin holding it in place. And you'll be able to see this pin through this opening, through this little hole right here. But on this side, the access point to the pin is blocked by a screw, so we're going to take that screw out. As I move the finger lever and bolt back and forth, you see that pin right there? It can only be driven out from this side, which is the other reason why this hole is so small, so that the pin cannot come out this way. And on this side, the pin is blocked by that screw that we just removed. So we're going to be removing it obviously from this side out. With the action closed, we're going to put the punch in, drive that pin out completely. When we separate the finger lever, there is nothing actually holding onto the bolt, so we can take the bolt out. Now the only thing that's holding the finger lever to the action is the link pin. So there is a spring and a plunger behind the finger lever catch inside the link body, so we're going to try to not lose it. I'm going to just drive out this pin like that, just push it out, and now I'm going to try to carefully remove everything from the action. And you can see that here's the finger lever catch, and inside there, plunger and the spring under it. So let's see if we can make the plunger come out and the spring there. Now my plunger is not the correct plunger, I just made it from a screw. As you can see, there's a remaining screw head. Now that the finger lever is out and pretty much everything else is out, we can remove the, well, if I rotate the sear out of the way, we can remove the the block out of the back, the locking block. Now the pin is gone, and you can see that the sear just came out right here. And we can take the pin out as well. Now, if I were to remove the charger guides, which have nothing to do with the action, and that's why I'm not removing them, your receiver is basically completely disassembled. Alright, let's continue disassembling the finger lever and the link. So you can see that there are two screw looking things here on this side, and those are not screws, those are just pins. They're split pins that need to be pushed out. What I don't want to do is apply too much pressure and collapse the finger lever, so I'm going to try to do it without using a hammer. So I'm just going to apply a bit of pressure and push the pin out, and then take it out on this side. Oops, sorry. And you can see that this is just a split pin. I'll set that aside. The link is now free, and what we can do now is take out the trigger. You remove this pin. There. Oops. There's the pin, and here is the trigger. We can take our punch and push this split pin out. Now we can continue driving it down. Okay, the pin is now out completely. Once that pin is out, we're going to move this out completely. You'll find the place where it kind of comes out like that. Now we need to take out the plunger, the other plunger, and the spring, which are right here inside. You see it's a much larger plunger and spring. Now we're going to take apart the magazine. So I'm going to need to drive out this one pin. So that pin should now be out completely, like that. Now I'm going to want to okay. So with the whole assembly, with the whole spring still on, basically. Let me see if I can get all of this out like that. You can take the spring off, or you can leave the spring on. These are the two pins left to remove. Hopefully you can see. There's one pin. They seem to be identical with the trigger pin. So I know for a fact that this is the trigger pin, and the other one is the pin from the carrier. So now we can separate the two pieces apart. There's that pin. Yeah, they seem to be identical. Now, this is basically completely disassembled. So, again, if you need to take the spring off, you just have to spread it over these protrusions, one side at a time, and just take it off completely. Okay, now we're going to disassemble the bolt. I'm going to start by removing the pin that holds the extractor, and I'm going to need to use a steel punch for this. There. Now it's out completely. Now the extractor should come out like that. We can clean everything. Now we're going to take out the firing pin lock spring screw. Let's see if the screwdriver will fit. And it seems to fit. So we're going to take out this screw. Notice how the spring is positioned, by the way. Now we're going to remove the pin and drive this pin out. Let me see which side. Probably this side is better. There we go. So now we can take these parts out, and that's how they sit in the bolt, like that. Now we can take out the firing pin. Here you go. Alright, now we're going to take out the ejector, and what I'm going to do is actually hold it in place with a clamp, so just so it's easier. I'll show you the pin that I need to remove. That pin sits right inside here, and it needs to be driven out to the top of the bolt. And we're going to start giving it a few taps. There we go. You can see that now there is no pin. Now the only thing left is to basically take the ejector out. So there, the ejector comes out, and the spring there. There's the ejector spring. The two things I did not want to disassemble, but decided to show you how to disassemble them anyway, are the rear sling mount, which is this thing, and the butt plate. So the rear sling mount operates by basically pushing on the button, lifting this bracket off of this pivot point, or off of this pin, and then you'll be able to remove the actual base. And to take apart this, effectively there is no thread or anything on this point. On this pin. So you would essentially just need to take it and start turning it until you can work it off of the pin. The pin is spread on top here. It goes all the way through. This is one piece, this button with a thin part up here, and then inside there is a spring. So once you take this bracket off of this pin, you'll be able to then remove the actual pin itself and the spring that's inside. So that's kind of how you take one apart. And that's how it all looks together. Now the butt plate is very simple. Simply remove that one screw and take out the spring, the sleeve spring, and then also take out the trapdoor. The trapdoor you can take out even now. Basically I just lifted it and kind of removed it, you see. And I'll be able to put it back effectively the same way. I just need to move the spring up, kind of like that. And there, trapdoor works. But yeah, this completes our disassembly. Thank you for watching.